everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope you all are doing well. I know that this time where we're all at home can come with a lot of struggles. Maybe you're alone a lot. Maybe you're facing a lot of unstructured time. Maybe the sins that you used to deal with in high school are kind of creeping back up now that you're back home. Maybe you're losing patience with your parents or siblings. All of that kind of leads to a lot of temptation. Maybe a little bit more or a lot more than what you're normally facing. And with these feelings of temptation often comes feelings of guilt, of shame, disappointment or anger in ourselves, and hopelessness. But the Lord offers a solution to this hopelessness, hope, and we can find it in His Word in Hebrews chapter 4, verses 14 through 16. So in my quiet time during this quarantine, I've been reading through Hebrews, and it basically talks about, at least so far what I've been reading, like the difference between the Old Covenant, which is like the Israelites with their high priests and sheep sacrifices, bull sacrifices, all of that for their sin, comparing it to the New Covenant with Jesus, who's the ultimate final sacrifice for sin, and He's like the high priest who intercedes on our behalf and purifies us. So, Hebrews 4, 14 through 16 says this: "Since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." So the first verse is talking about Jesus. He's this high priest, which means he's like way up there because in those days the priests were literally responsible for everybody's status with God. And Jesus just isn't any high priest. He's a great high priest. He's passed through the heavens, which means he's in this supreme, powerful place. He's literally where God is. And not only that, he's the actual Son of God. So he's really important, he's significant, he's powerful, he's great, and yet he is not unable to sympathize with our weaknesses. So he is able to sympathize with our weaknesses. And actually, if you look at this translation, when it comes directly from the Greek, it uses the word feel. So Jesus is able to feel what we're going through when it comes to our temptations and weaknesses and flaws. So that's the kind of person that we have interceding for us, coming to God on our behalf. He's this great and powerful person who knows exactly what we're going through. He sympathizes with us, and he's going to God on our behalf while knowing what we're dealing with. So shout out Jesus for that. Okay, on to the second thing. It says in this verse that Jesus has in every respect been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Isn't it crazy to think that Jesus has been tempted just as we are in every respect? Like, no matter what temptation you're dealing with, Jesus can relate. And I hope that's encouraging to each one of you. You're not alone. Jesus does understand. But then the next part made me a little bit mad. It says that Jesus has been tempted, just like me in every respect, yet without sin. Like, okay, Jesus, I get it. You're perfect. You went through the same exact temptation as me, but you didn't mess up and you didn't fail miserably. And it's like, how can he really understand what I'm going through? But thankfully, I got some help from my boy C.S. Lewis. Fun fact, C.S. stands for Clive Staples. So his name is Clive. He was balding. Not a lot going for him in that aspect, but he does have some incredible wisdom. In his book, Mere Christianity, he says, "A silly idea is current that good people do not know what temptation means. This is an obvious lie. Only those who try to resist temptation know how strong it is. After all, you find out the strength of the German army by fighting against it, not by giving in. You find out the strength of the wind by trying to walk against it, not by lying down. A man who gives in to temptation after 5 minutes simply does not know what it would have been like an hour later. We never find out the strength of the evil impulse inside us until we try to fight it. And Christ, because he was the only man who never yielded to temptation, is also the only man who knows to the full what temptation means, the only complete realist. So basically, Jesus understands our temptations even better than us. He knows more about what we're struggling with than we do. Which brings me to my last point. When we're struggling with a desire to sin and it feels like temptation is just coming towards us and trying to take over, we shouldn't hide. Instead, the scripture says we should draw near to the throne of grace so that we can receive mercy and find grace to help us in time of need. Because where better to go for help when we're dealing with temptation than the ultimate expert in temptation? If I'm trying to work on my driving skills, I'm going to go to my mom and dad who've been driving for years and years and years. So if I'm trying to overcome temptation, I need to go to the only person who has ever fully and completely overcome all kinds of temptation. That's Jesus, right? So when you're struggling, don't hide from him in shame because you feel unworthy or like there's no point. We're supposed to draw near to him in confidence, holding fast to our confession of our faith. Draw near in confidence because he understands and feels exactly what you're going through. He loves you and he's interceding for you before God, knowing what you are going through. I already said that, but you know what I mean. And you can receive mercy and grace to help you in your time of need. Okay, that's it. I love y'all and I'm praying for y'all.